Welcome to an episode of Thoughts of an Average Joe podcast, man. It is Teroy, man, your favorite average Joe. I'm about to stop saying my full name on here. From now on, y'all can just call me Joe. I'm just about to say it's Joe. I don't think I want people to know my real name no more, even though it's all over. So for the new people, motherfucker, call me Joe. Sorry for not dropping an episode last week, so I'm dropping 2 this week. As you can see, more in my Eagles jersey because once again we won. Fly Eagles fly. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be short and sweet because I gotta go to work in about 2 hours. So episode 3 of the relationship resume is going to be called "Seeing Me on My Resume: The Fear of Being Truly Known." My I guess title, if I had the title, would be called "When the Real Representative Starts to Show." Right. So let's open with the core question, right? First of all, before we get into that, man, how everybody else is doing? I'm sorry. I'm doing good. My mental health is all right. Almost a month away before I move into my new spot. And then you'll see, completely different setup. Even though I do like the setup here, it is nice. But I'll be in a different setup. It's about to be in 2026. So if you got any dead weight, shed the dead weight, man. If somebody pissing you off, let that motherfucker go. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no need to be bringing negativity into 2026. Also, I'm praying to God. I'm supposed to work New Year's Eve. I'm hoping I can get off because who wants to bring in the New Year at work? I know I don't. That is trash. All right. Core question, right? Do they like me or do they like the version I present? Right? So the episode focus is going to be the fear of vulnerability and being truly seen. So, right. Why do we hide behind the resume? Why do we wait for the real us to show? A lot of people have insecurities. They're afraid that once they really see them and the trauma and the baggage that comes with that they'll be scared off. Some people, they use accomplishments, confidence, humor, or coolness as armor, and why people lead with strengths instead of the truth. As you know, I'm real insecure about my teeth. And one of the things that I do now off rip is I probably within maybe I would say the first couple weeks to talk to somebody, I let them know off rip, hey, look, here's what's going on with my teeth situation. So up front. So it ain't about to be because some people, they be like, you need perfect teeth before they talk to you. So, I try to tell them that up front as opposed to trying to hide it. Because trying to hide shit gets old fast. Keep trying to mask shit over and over. And then eventually the truth comes out and it's like, why didn't you tell me? I remember when I was dealing with an ex, they were upset because I didn't tell them about my teeth earlier when they were being open and vulnerable. And I waited until it was time for me to book a flight to be like, hey, yo, by the way, here's what's going on. And it was just like, she was upset that I didn't tell her earlier. She was like, why didn't you just tell me earlier and tell me the truth? I was like, because number one, I've been rejected because of my teeth situation. And 2, I liked you and I didn't want to lose you. I felt like that had been something that, some people can look over, some people can't look over. And I feel like that's why some people are afraid of the real them showing early on or leading with the truth because of what that other person might think or what that other person might say. But I've learned in past relationships to just be honest. Hey, here's what's going on. Let them make that decision, because if they make that decision that, hey, they don't want to talk to you or they don't necessarily want to, this is something that they can't do, then early on that's not the person for you, as opposed to, building a connection and forming a connection and forming trust and feelings, and then for them to be like, yeah, you should have told me this earlier because I don't rock with this. I don't fuck with this. And it just saves a whole bunch of heartache and pain along the way. Some people lead with strengths instead of the truth because the truth is let's keep it a buck. The truth is scary. The truth ain't pleasant, right? The truth is scary. I know a woman who can't have kids, and I remember she waited until her and the guy got serious and she wanted to have kids and told him. And she knew that kids were a deal breaker. That's some stuff that you tell somebody early on in a relationship. Like, hey man, listen, I'm not gonna lie to you. I like you, but I know you want to have kids. I'm telling you up front, I can't have kids. Let that be a decision that they make. Because, they might surprise you and be like, hey, if you can't have kids, adoption is still a route, right? Or whatever the case is, instead of just telling them and not letting them come to their own conclusion or decision. It's like you're robbing them of the chance to see if this is something that they really want to do, as opposed to now you kind of blindsiding them. I remember Love is Blind, season 1. What was that man's name? Carlton or whatever his name was. If y'all remember, it was Diamond, I think. And so he had plenty of time to tell her in the past that he was a bisexual man. He did not do that. He waited until she said I do, and they went to the honeymoon part, right? And when they got to the honeymoon part, he told her then that, I'm bisexual, or I've had, previous relationships with men. And then he got upset that she needed time to process that, and he didn't handle it well and blew up, and they never got married because he was afraid of the real him being seen. He was afraid of his real representative being seen. Same thing with people that may have, conditions or STDs or whatever the case is, like permanent ones. Like, that's something that, I know plenty. I've heard stories of women not disclosing to men that they have HIV because, well, if it doesn't detect, or herpes or whatever the case is. Like, that's some stuff that, like, yeah, you take a risk, obviously, whenever you have sex with somebody, but that's something that you need to tell somebody up front, because let them make that decision of whether they want to be sexually active with you or not. Instead, you are too focused on how they're going to feel and how they're going to respond and how they may hurt your feelings, instead of letting them come to their own terms with it. So I feel like that's probably why people are afraid of leading with strengths instead of the truth. Trauma responses, masking, people pleasing, emotional avoidance. They do all of that to really hide what the real issue is that they have going on with them. Like I'm saying, a lot of people, they be like, oh, you got too much trauma. When in actuality is, yeah, they may have trauma, but they're trying to work on that. But you just have a problem of really committing to somebody. And because you have a problem with committing to somebody, you try to dump it on somebody else as to why you don't want to be in a relationship with that person. The fear of rejection versus the fear of the exposure, right? I don't know about y'all. I would rather get rejected than being exposed, right? I've learned this the hard way. If you got something to say to your partner, it's better to hear it from them than to hear it from somebody else. I 1,000% agree. The fear, nobody likes being rejected, right? Especially women. Women hate being rejected. I think as men, most men, I would say, handle rejection well. I say about a good 70%. Now, I say a good 65%. That other 35%, they do not handle rejection well. But women don't handle rejection well either. Like I'm saying, if they want to fuck and you don't want to fuck, most of them think you gay. Or why you gay? But yet, if I want to have sex with you and you reject me, I just have to take it, right? Like I'm saying, like, it's a lot of different things. But the fear of rejection versus fear of exposure, I feel like it's a big one, because over time, the more that you get to know somebody, you're going to eventually let your guard down. And unless you're great with keeping up with lies, you're going to eventually slip. And now the real you is being exposed. Who you truly are is being exposed. Like, if you're telling somebody you're a neat freak, but in actuality you ain't, and they come over to your house, sooner or later they gonna see that you a dirty motherfucker. Like I'm saying, or if you tell somebody that your player days are done and then you keep slipping up, sooner or later they gonna see that you talking, you dealing with her and other women. Like I'm saying, like, if I've known people to hide their kids. How can you hide kids? I don't know. But eventually that shit comes out. And then you have to deal with the truth of who you really are, and are they going to be able to handle it and deal with who you really are, as opposed to putting up a front for so long. Past relationships teach us what parts of ourselves feel unsafe to show, right? And what I mean by that is, there may be stuff in past relationships to where you have grown insecure, to where you have grown insecure to a about a person, right? Um, or about yourself. There are some things to where, like, you know, you may not want the other person to show right away, and you have grown to feel unsafe. Like other partners have not liked that about you, and you have grown to feel unsafe about that. So you're afraid to show them. I'm a full believer now at my big age of 36. Just let's put all the cards on the table. Here's what it is. Here's what it ain't, and go from there. Shit, I ain't gonna hold you. Some people, you know, some men's insecurity. No homo. Pause. It's the size of their dick, and you know they some like you know, and sometimes they take forever to show it to them, to have sex with them because they're afraid of how it looks, or they're afraid of what that person might think, or they may be like, oh, she's talking about like, oh, I like a certain size, you're not a certain size. You may be afraid to show her because that may change the dynamic of the relationship, and it probably could. But also at the same time, I'm a firm believer of what is for you and who is for you will be for you. And I feel like so many times, like we try to force ourselves into situations and relationships that may not be for us, and then we end up in certain situationships to where if we'd have just listened to our gut, we'd have been much better off. Things we show first so we don't have to show our wounds, right? I feel like for some people, right, for men who lead with money, right, they are afraid because their personality isn't the best or they don't have great social skills, so they lead with money to kind of hide the fact that they're assholes or they're abusive, or because most women like money, especially this generation of women. Um, they like money, so yeah, of course they're gonna rock with you, or use you for your money, and you may be cool with that, but deep down you want love, but because you don't necessarily know how to really form a connection, you're stuck with what you got. And I was in a situation like that, and I had to get out of it. Like, look, I told the young lady, I was like, listen, we got into the situation to where basically a pay for play situation. I was like, I did like you at one point, but whenever I tried to take it to the next level, things will come up. Like if I was to give her the money first, we wouldn't do anything. Like if I gave her the money first, it would always be something in regards to why I can't see you, or this came up. It's all life always happens when you got the money first. But when you don't got the money first, all of a sudden you're available. But when we get the money first, life happens. It was one particular time I wanted to really show her that I cared. So a long time ago, I booked us a getaway, and she stood me up. And that's some shit I'll never forget, because number one, you wasted my money. Number two, you wasted my time. Number three, you showed that you really didn't care. So then you'd be like, that's not true, I never said that. Your actions will always speak louder than your words. All right. The performative problem in modern dating. The problem is people are dating as emotional auditions. You know what I'm saying? Instead of going with somebody who loves you for you, you go with somebody who's comfortable. Somebody who won't push you to your limits. Because I feel like in a relationship, your partner needs to push you. Not to your limits, but you know what I'm saying, push you to be a better somebody instead of just being complacent with who you are and where you're at in life. Because in life, you will continue to evolve. You will continue to grow. And you're not going to be able to continue to do that if you're just with somebody who is complacent with what you do for them instead of wanting to see you evolve and wanting to see you grow. Saying what sounds good instead of saying what's true. Shit, I tell women all the time, I'm broke. Tell you straight up, I ain't got no money for you. I'm broke. I'll do my best to try to make sure you good, but I ain't got it like that. I'm not making $150,000 a year to where you could just sit at home and I could just give you an allowance. That must be nice, but I don't have it like that. And some people, they try to put on a front, and I feel like, right, a lot of people, they say what sounds good instead of saying what's true, is because they try to date outside of, I don't want to say they want to date, they try to date outside their attraction. they date outside of their tax bracket. I used to be one of those. You know what I'm saying? When you date, and let me explain. When you date outside your tax bracket, you're opening yourself up to a whole new responsibility that you may not be used to. Like when you date outside your tax bracket, now it's like, oh, you're dealing with girls like Vincent Balenciaga and they want their nails done every week and maintenance and all that. And you're spending all this money to maintain that. But yet, you ain't got no money for yourself. You spend it all on her to try to keep up with the Joneses when you don't have to keep up with the Joneses. Because I like, it took me a long time to learn this, but I honestly and truly do believe that when a woman likes you, you don't, I mean, you got to spend money, of course, but you ain't got to spend a whole bunch of money like you think you do. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like when a woman truly likes you, like, they just want to spend time with you. So, yeah, you know, if you can spend some money and be creative, like, hey, we're going to go to the park. We're going to set up these little, for example, we're going to go to the beach. We're going to, you know what I'm saying? We're going to buy some wine. You know, if you into a little marijuana, a little Mary Jane, get these little edibles or wherever the case is. And let's paint a fucking canvas. Let's see what comes out of it. You know what I'm saying? Shit's where, like, you're still spending time, still spending money, but you're showing the effort. But because you're just out here, when you're outside of your tax bracket, I feel like you try to buy somebody's love instead of actually earning their love. And because I feel like love being earned is a real thing. You know what I'm saying? It takes time to get to know somebody, to form a connection, build trust, as opposed to, yeah, I'm going to just keep throwing money at you. Because then at that point, you just become a pay pig. You're a pay pig and you're a paymaster. I need this. I need that. And then when you say no, they dump you and go to the next one because you never really formed a connection with them. Trust me, I'm telling you from experience. I had to learn the hard way. Performing masculinity and femininity instead of being present. Sometimes you just got to be present. Sometimes you just got to learn and know, it comes with time, your partner, what to say, when to say, and what they need. Like, sometimes your partner just needs a hug. You can see that they about to break down instead of just being like, hey, here goes some money, get you going to shopping spree. No, they just need a hug. They just need you to listen. Help come up with solutions instead of just always putting a Band-Aid over shit. While being impressive often replaces being emotionally available. If you're always trying to impress somebody, at some point you're going to let them down, right? And when you let them down, you're going to see the real them, and you're going to see how they really treat you. Because if you always tell somebody yes, what happens when you tell them no for the first time? How do they react? We already know how most women are anyway when you tell them no. So now it's like, is it a why can't you do it? I understand. Like, I follow somebody on Twitter, and I feel like social media has this is giving women a bad sense of, she said, I hate me, I'll give it to you, a Friday ass nigga. And like, I don't have a problem with this lady. Bitch, we are broke. Okay, we are in a fucking recession. I can't stand there when women be like, I hate a Friday ass nigga. Bitch, I don't care if you ask for $60 fucking dollars. If I ain't got it, I ain't got it till fucking Friday. You should be grateful that I got it. And I feel like that's the issue with some women in this generation. Sorry for, a little outburst. It has become such a microwave society where women want things when they want it right then and there. Oh, $60. It's just $60. If it's just $60, then why don't you have the $60? If it's just $150, just $250, just $500, why the fuck don't you have it? Why do I have to have it always for you when you want it? I go through shit just like you go through shit. And I feel like there are a lot of people in today's society who are not, they don't give people grace when it comes to financial status. They don't give people grace. They want it, and they be like, if you don't get it, the next nigga get it for me. The next nigga didn't get it for you, then cool. But there's a saying, like, the nigga that will give you his last is the one you should hold on to, as opposed to the man that will give you, like, it was a saying to where a woman asked her man for $100. He said, I don't have it, I'll give it to you Friday. And then she ended up getting $100 from a nigga to her. $100 ain't shit. But the nigga who will give you the shirt off his back and will give you the last, that means more than the person who got $100 below to give it to you just because. And I feel like in this society, that's the part of the issue that we run into is people, they want what they want when they want it instead of being realistic. Like, all right, if you got it to Friday, I could wait till Friday. But to say like I hate me a wait till Friday ass nigga, like I feel like that just gives women such a bad impression and such a bad image. Let's talk about the fear of being fully seen. And it's part of the reason why people have this fear is because if they really knew me, they would leave mindset. And like I said, it comes down to what's for you is for you, as opposed to saying if they really knew me, maybe they would really love me with my flaws and all. But people don't, you know what I'm saying? Some people don't think like that. You know what I'm saying? Shame around flaws, mistakes, and emotional needs. I feel like some people need to come with terms with their past and how their past reflects their future. I think it was Brittany Renner now talking about how she was ready to settle down and get married. And I'm like, kudos to you, but baby girl, you was a hoe. Let's keep it a buck. So like you want somebody to really sit down and really give you a chance. Like we've seen what you've done in the past. Like I'm not saying people can't find love, but I feel like this is going to be a current trend for the women who do the hardcore OnlyFans. Now you got the women who just do like little lingerie OnlyFans. They may show a titty here and there or some ass in lingerie, but they ain't really fucking. I'm talking about the ones that are fucking. Me personally, I'm only subscribing to the ones that are fucking. I don't care about all the other shit. If you ain't fucking, I don't want to see it. But anyway, that's beside the point. The ones that are fucking, you at some point you gonna if when you're ready to settle down, that comes up, and most men don't want to deal with that. And a woman in the long run, like it's all well and good. Get your coins, like I'm saying. I know I have seen plenty of OnlyFans models get what they need to get, and now they want to rebrand. Nah, bitch. It's just like the people with the BBLs. Nah, bitch. We seen you ain't had no ass before. Nah, don't sit there and delete all that past history. Think you in the gym, you got this. Like you're false representative. The fear of fully being seen, right? The fear of fully being seen. We know. We just saw you sucking dick and throwing it back. I saw you do that, and now you want to act like you. Now you act like you want to be holier than thou. And I want to wait. I want to wait for sex to get married. Bitch, if you don't throw that shit back, sorry, forgive me, Lord. I've seen what you do on camera, so don't sit there now act like you're this brand new person and you don't want to do it. People can change, but no, don't change that when it comes to me. But yeah, like you know what I'm saying, like. Same thing, and men get, like, you know what I'm saying, women that get ran through all of a sudden, they want to rebrand themselves, right? And once they rebrand themselves, now they want to be this whole new person. Men get ran through too. Men, I feel like there's a stigma to where men need to get criticized like women, where, if you got more than 3 baby mamas, like, you know what I'm saying, you need to get criticized too, nigga, because why the fuck you stick your dick in everything? Just like the women get criticized, is that the women get criticized because they the ones that live with the babies. So it's like you got 3 different women, you got 3 different babies by 3 different men. Just like men have 3 different babies by 3 different women, but it's okay for them and not okay for the woman. I don't like that. How fear shows up, right? You avoid deep conversations. You deflect with humor. You keep the relationship surface level, and you pull away when things get real. Intimacy requires exposure, but exposure feels unsafe. In order to be intimate with somebody, it requires to, it requires to be vulnerable. It requires exposure. It requires you to really learn somebody on a deeper level. And when you don't do those things, then it creates intimacy without attraction. My bad. It creates attraction without intimacy. I could be attracted to you, but it's no intimacy involved at all. Like none. Like intimacy can fade over the course of the relationship, but to where it's like none at all. Like You're not being intimate at all. Like you're not. There's no cuddling. There's no watching TV together. There's no building no type of connection. Then at that point, you're a relationship that's doomed to fail, and that's that's where a lot of people end up at. Like, right, when did you realize you were performing instead of connecting? Right, a lot of people are performing instead of connecting because they're afraid of really being seen instead of just showing everybody who the real them is. If you show somebody your authentic self, they may not like it, but I guarantee you they will respect it because they have to. Because you're showing all your cards up front of who you are and what you're capable of instead of just faking it over and over and over again. And faking it gets tiring. It is so tiresome. You can't be deeply loved if you're never deeply known. Once again, you can't be deeply loved if you're never deeply known. If you're always building up these barriers of this is who I am and this is what I want to do and this is why I can't do X, Y, and Z, or this is why I can't really sit there and really be vulnerable with you. A lot of people give excuses until once there's no more excuses to give, then they start to really show you who they really are. But at that point, it's too late. Nobody wants to keep fighting through hoops. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got to go through it. It's like I got to go through all the henchmen to get to the final boss. Why can't I just get to the final boss to begin with? Seen versus safe. What people confuse. Why being seen feels dangerous when you've been hurt. Because if you've been hurt and you are your true authentic self, at some point you're going to pull back a little bit because you're going to feel like, hey, I don't want to be hurt again. But when it comes to being in relationships and being in love, you can't really have that mindset because that's how relationships don't flourish. Because if you're always pulling back, if you're always guarded, people got to, like I said, people got to go through hoops just to really get to know the real you. And people are tired of having to fix other people's mistakes. Men and women are tired of having to fix other people's mistakes. That is a fact. I got to work extra hard to repair the damage that he did when they ain't got nothing to do with me. I ain't do shit to you. I'm just trying to get to know you. So why do I gotta work extra hard to fix what he did? It's not fair. The difference between emotional safety and emotional comfort. Emotional safety is I'm going to keep you at a distance. I'm only going to let you know what I want you to know. Emotional comfort is I feel safe with you because you know every aspect of me. And I'm trusting you with that information. And I'm trusting you with showing you who I really am to make me a better person, to make our relationship stronger. I feel like people who have the best relationships, they know almost everything about each other. They've gone through the fire. I feel like you can't really grow as a person in a relationship until you really strip away the layers and get to know that person to its core. But if you don't get to know that person to its core, then you won't really know who they are. Trust is built slowly, not instantly, and I feel like people forget that. Trust is built slowly, not instantly, and trust can be gone just like that. Over time is when you build trust with somebody, going through situations, being there for somebody, being put in situations and overcoming that. Like if you're in a situation where you can cheat and you choose not to cheat, now your partner trusts you that, hey, if I go out, I know I got a good person at home. They're not going to do anything foolish to jeopardize our relationship. Vulnerability without discernment leads to oversharing. You can be vulnerable, but you don't need to overshare right away. There's something I'm saying, you don't got to be all up front with everything. You can space some things out. You know what I'm saying? Like because I feel like if you overshare, then you're telling everybody everything up front. You can space some things out. There's nothing wrong. Like, I'm not saying you got to sit there and hide who you really are, but there are some things like for women who have, been sexually molested, that or men, that may not be something that they want to share right away because that may be a lot for somebody to take in. I ain't gonna hold you. Full transparency. When I was with my ex, as y'all know, she had cancer. And I'm not 100% sure that if she would have told me like she wasn't in remission, if I would have wanted to deal with that, because that would have been a lot. But she was in remission. She told me that she was a cancer survivor, and that's some good. It was good. It was good to know, because especially in those type of things, you know what I'm saying, it's good to know who you're dealing with and what issues that they have in case y'all decide to get married, because that could, or have a baby, that could fall down the family tree, right? Learning who deserves access to the real you, right? That's a real thing. Learning who deserves access to the real you. You always got to remember to learn who deserves access. Not everybody deserves access to the real you, but that comes with time, and that comes with discernment, and that comes with getting to know somebody. Of, when you throw different things at them, different pieces of information at them, how do they handle that? How do they respond? If they respond well to that, then okay, cool. Maybe I could throw a little bit more on you. If they can't, then okay, bam. Maybe I can't. Maybe this isn't the person for me, right? So how to practice healthy vulnerability, right? Because we're almost done. Revealing layers, not all at once. You don't got to reveal everything at once. Like I said, just revealing layers, man. Like, throw a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit there, sprinkle it in and see what you get. You know what I'm saying? See if this is somebody that can handle the real you at once. And speak truth without trauma dumping. That's all you got to do, is speak the truth without trauma dumping. Here's the most important part. Not only do you set boundaries around your story, you're going to choose authenticity over approval, right? But this is the real key one. You watch how people respond to your honesty. That's going to tell you a lot of who somebody is how they respond to your honesty. Do they get defensive? Do they accept it? How do they handle it? Damn, you been through a lot. God damn, I ain't gonna hold you here, shit. You done fucked around with a lot of people. You a bit of a hoe. Or, and I understand everybody makes mistakes. I don't care what happened before this person. You're with me now. You're good. Let's wrap it up, man. All right. I want y'all to remember, vulnerability is not exposure, it's intentional honesty. Once again, vulnerability is not exposure, it's intentional honesty. Main takeaway I want y'all from this episode, man, is the real you isn't the risk, hiding is. Remember, the real you isn't the risk, hiding is. Because at some point, the real you gonna show up. And if you haven't prepared that person for the real you, it could be a culture shock, and it could change the dynamic of the relationship, and if they still want to be with you. For my listeners, what part of yourself do you hide the most when dating? Once again, what part of yourself do you hide the most when dating? Hey, man, respond to me in my inbox, average JTPC, you know what I'm saying? Or my regular Instagram, the original playmaker, or my TikTok, your favorite average Joe. You know what I'm saying? Let me know, what part of yourself do you hide the most when listening? All right. Next episode, I think it's probably the last part of the 4-part series, is the next episode is we stop talking about the resume and we start building a healthy one. So that way, when we go into relationships, we know exactly what to say and when to say it, and we know how to build a healthy relationship. All right. Thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for laughing, man. I appreciate y'all, man. It's Teroy, man, your favorite average Joe. I love y'all. Appreciate y'all, man. Can't do none of this without y'all. I'm bringing the tailgate talk back probably next week. I know I'm working a lot, so just bear with me. Once I move into my new place, I'll have a little bit more time, at least Thursdays and every other weekend or every weekend. But until then, man, bear with me. But I told y'all I'm going to try to be more consistent bringing out the content, and I will. All right. Share this with a friend. Share it with another friend. Listen to it. Let me know how it is. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all, man. It's your favorite average show. I'm signing out. Fly Eagles Fly, man. It's another Average Joe Media production. Peace.